listening to The Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
On Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
With Russ Kane.
Not our pop pickers. Hope you can hear me okay. We are trying completely new technology today. It is what we call an experiment that took 5.5 hours to sort out. My most enormous thanks to Mr. Phil Dave, the king of cravats. One day I'm going to say that. It's going to go horribly wrong. Now, Neil here because I just want to try this tech out. Some years ago, ladies and gentlemen, I found myself in the biggest marquee in Europe. Me, the only bloke, and 17,000 women. Correct. 17,000 women. And I had been asked, God only knows why, if I would host and I would start the famous in Hyde Park Corner. In Hyde Park. I'll never forget it. It was the most wonderful, wonderful evening. The sad thing is, despite the fact there was me and 17,000 women, I still went home alone. Go figure. Ladies and gentlemen, before I bring you on, Longy, I want to introduce you to the lady who dreamt this up. It's been a dream to meet her. I'm so pleased. It's taken blooming ages to get her on. Nina Barough. Nina, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Good. I am delighted. Now, while you're there, I'm going to bring on my chum, Neil. Just one sec. And he's there. Hi, Neil.
Hello. Good afternoon. Hello, Nina.
Hello. I can't see
Nina, we are absolutely delighted you could join us. The story, now I hope, I've tried to explain to Neil with 1,000 emails, etc. We're trying a new system today. I normally shouldn't be talking about it, but we're running all different wiring and all different mics. Hope it all goes well. Now, Nina, you had a dream. Tell us about the dream and how it turned into this incredible situation.
Well, I dreamt. It's one of those early morning dreams when you're sort of half awake, half asleep. I dreamt I power walked the New York City Marathon in a bra to raise money for breast cancer. Now, I think that the bit that is really weird and is that I didn't know anyone with breast cancer, and at that time, people just didn't talk about it. It was, it was very much cancer, the C word.
Yeah, you couldn't say the word, right?
Yeah.
Nina, Nina, one thing I couldn't get, and I've read up about you, obviously. I do a little bit, but not quite as stupid as I pretend. Were you in New York, or you just dreamt you were in New York? Because I couldn't work that out.
I was lying in the flat that I rented in London. No, I dreamt that I did the New York Marathon. But it came as a whole package, the bra, the breast cancer, New York.
Well, the whole thing was a dream?
It just came as a dream, yeah.
No.
But if I'm really, really honest, the thing that excited me most about this was the idea of going to New York.
No, we get that. This was an entire dream. Oh, yeah. My God. I didn't realize that.
No,
I love that.
Quite often people say to me, well, when did you decide to do it for breast cancer? And,
yeah.
It came as a package. And at the time I worked in the media, I did production and styling for photo shoots. And of course, I think we all have good ideas every day, but we just let them sort of go. Yeah. I imagine them like little pink balloons that float away. And I just held on to this one, and I thought, this sounds really good fun.
But Nina, you didn't even dig into this. Like, I'm looking at Neil's face, and he's like, what? And I'm feeling the same inside, but trying not to show it, right? You didn't know anyone with breast cancer, and in your dream, you go, let's do the New York Marathon, let's do that, and let's wear fancy decorated bras. I mean, that is a pretty explicit dream.
Well, it was even more so because at that, now people sort of put on a bra at midnight and go out, and it's part of the fun and the experience. And even though
That's called dogging. Nina, that's called dogging. It's not the same thing.
well, it still takes a lot of
Sorry.
courage if you've never done it
Well,
before.
it takes a little bit of planning, I'll give you that, but no, it's not quite the same.
But at that time, it was really out there. You just did not walk around in your bra, and it was really off to the left idea.
Oh my God, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Let's say hello before you go disappear anywhere. This is from Asa Don Brown, who's in northeastern United States. It's New York State, but it's not New York City. Good day. My wife and I are enjoying your show on our 26th anniversary. Many congratulations, Asa, to you and the long-suffering Mrs. Brown. Fantastic. 26 years married. Blimey, O'Reilly. So tell us how this grew, Nina. It's just the most fantastic story. I love it. Tell us how it grew.
Well, at first I just used to sort of go around saying to people, "Hey, do you want to come with me to New York?" And of course, everybody said yes. And then I said, "Well, all you
Uh-oh.
have to do is walk 26 miles." And I mean, at that time as well, people didn't even walk in this country for sport. If you were doing a marathon and you weren't running it, walking was very much the poor relation to running. And people didn't really look at you and think that was going to be anything good. But I had quite a lot of people that said, "Oh yes, we'd love to." But of course, I mulled it over a little bit, and then I thought somebody said to me one hot afternoon about a month later, "Are we going to do this walking thing?" And I thought, well, I've not got much work on.
Bugger, I've been rumbled.
I've not got much work on. Yeah, let's do it. And I literally agreed to do it and gave it less thought than I would buying a pair of shoes. It was just like, yeah, let's go and do it. Not realizing that it was going to absolutely change my life.
Wow. Wow. Neil, you wanted to ask something, I could see. What were you going to ask?
I'm just really, congratulations, Nina. It's a wonderful thing. I don't know if it's technology at my end. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
No, you're not moving. It's a charming photo, but you're frozen. Well, we can hear you perfectly, so that's fine.
Okay,
nice
well, it's
picture.
radio. I'll just look at my ugly mug. No one else needs to see it.
Well, I'm looking at your handsome face, Neil. It's very charming.
I actually heard, Nina, the fact that you said it was a dream which came into reality, because people talk about making your dreams a reality, but this literally is making a dream a physical reality. Apparently, you're in good company because Berry Gordy had a dream about Motown. That all started in a dream, and then he woke up and created Motown, and on various disciplines, I suppose, that I've studied on bringing said dreams into reality, if we believe in that, it's basically having an idea and then following it without any idea of how it'll unfold, just following your excitement moment to moment to moment. And you've literally, maybe knowing it or maybe not, kind of fulfilled the formula for that. So I think we can all really learn something just by listening to that first part of the interview, But I mean, congratulations really is all I can think.
Incredible.
It's an incredible thing to achieve.
Nina, what were you doing? You said you weren't busy at that point. What were you actually doing? What was your job when you had this life-changing dream?
I ran a styling and production company. I was based in Nottingham, and I used to work on photo shoots. At that time, you have to bear in mind there was sort of no Google, there was no social media as we have it now, no Facebook. If you wanted to reach out to people, you literally had to do it by post. And so
Happy times, Nina. Happy times.
Yeah, it was actually. But I sort of worked with various sort of companies, and I would be doing, their brochures and their photo shoots and their advertising, and putting together all these different events all over the world. But they were for small film crews, sort of like 10, 12 people. So to sort of this vision that I had actually had hundreds of people. So maybe what I was actually envisaging was the moonwalk at that point, not New York. But I ended up with 13 hours going to New York. It was fantastic.
But I'm stunned by this, and I said I've read up about it. But talking to you, it makes it even more stunning. You're doing job number A. You had the most specific dream, and most of us, when we wake up, and we've talked about it. Neil and I chatted about this on the show in the past. You think, "Oh, I had a dream. Oh, bugger, it's gone," and you can't remember what it is. Which is why I always write everything down, if I can. But this was so specific; it was like a message. What do you think, Neil?
Yes, it does sound a bit like a download, if you like, or maybe I've just read too many metaphysical books. I don't know, but what I would say, Nina, a question is to you, just on that subject. How do you tell the difference between a thought in your mind that's as clear and as random, if you like, but as clear as that, against the normal kind of background noise and chitter chatter that most of us have in our minds quite a lot of the day?
Yeah.
What's the difference that makes the difference?
I don't know. I think that we all have our jobs, our busyness, our families, our life, and I think that we sometimes reach a point where we have ideas, but there's a lot of fear in change, and will it work? Won't it work?
Yes.
We might overthink it, and I think that's absolutely normal. It's human, and especially the more responsibilities you have, if you have children, then that exacerbates. And I think at that time I was single. I didn't have children. I had a job where I was very mobile, and we have to keep it in perspective. I thought it was a fun idea to do as a one-off fundraising event. I didn't know anything about breast cancer, and what was exciting was the fact that it was actually quite different. It wasn't the thing that girls should do. So of course, all the girls I knew were kind of going, "Yeah, let's go and do it." And weekend in New York that did some good. But I mean, to put it into perspective, it was really, I saw it as a weekend. And when the girls said, "Are we going to do it?" and I said, "Yeah, okay, well, we better find a breast cancer charity," I literally rang Yellow Pages. Do you remember that one?
No.
Yeah.
I need a breast cancer charity. And the first one they gave me, B, Breakthrough, was at the top of the list. And I said, "Yeah, that'll do." So it wasn't
Unbelievable.
a life decision. I had absolutely no concept of what it was going to become, but I was happy to take that risk, I guess.
There's so much to unpack from this, Nina. I knew this. I was really looking forward to this conversation. I know Neil was as well. But there's so much to unpack. Number one, sometimes Neil's much more spiritual than I am. I'm more a meat and potatoes guy. Neil is much more spiritual. But I've known him for many years. If you have a dream that's so specific, write it down. Maybe act on it. Maybe or maybe not. But in your case, thank heavens, for millions of people that you did. That's number one. Number two, we're all scared. But if you don't give it a go, you'll never know. You'll never know what is possible. And that's my motto. Give it a go. Full steam ahead, down the torpedoes, and we'll just give it a try.
I mean, it's not me being particularly spiritual. It's just based on stuff that I've read and attempt to put into practice myself. But sometimes the biggest and best things happen. A term I came up, or I didn't come up with, my teacher came up with the other day, is organic unfolding. And it was just, as you're describing it, Nina, step by step by step, next step, next step, next step. Who was that famous person that said you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step? Might have been Martin Luther King. And it is kind of that. But they're simple, doable, one at a time steps. And that can lead to the biggest things. And that's my takeaway from here. I'm sorry I can't see you.
No, I know. I do. But I think it's having the courage, and I think it's. I think also that and this is again a society thing, is that there's a fear in failing. You know,
Oh, completely. You kidding?
you sort of think,
Totally.
what happens if it fails? What happens if if you're doing it with somebody else, what happens if I let them down? I mean, even in terms of doing a marathon or going to do an event, and we obviously have been organizing them now for many years,
Yeah.
that's often the greatest fear, that you're going to let other people down or that it might fail. And I think the message that I got from this is to always have the courage to give something a go. If it fails, you can lose it, you've done it. And if you've given it, if you've given something your best shot, you can't
Yeah.
go, oh, if only I'd done a little bit more, if I'd worked a bit longer, or if I'd made those extra calls. I think if you give something everything and it doesn't work, great. Just go, well, that's not going to work. Let's move on to the next thing. And it's having the courage to do that.
Because from that point of view, Nina, it's not failure; it's simply feedback, and that's why I put on number 2 on the screen. Act on it without any need for an outcome to be a particular way. Because then, if there's no need for any particular outcome, number 1, you can't let anyone down because you're not failing. It's just feedback. It's just experiment. And number 2, what will happen will happen, and you open yourself up to greater possibilities by not narrowing it down, thinking it's got to be this way, it should be that way. Fascinating.
Yeah,
Nina, my dad was a man of very few words, I've got to tell you. Most of them were pretty unrepeatable. But he always said one thing, and you've said it much more eloquently than Pop did, and it was this. Did you do your best? I went, yeah. Well, that's it. You did your best. And we become our own critics. That's okay. But if you walk away from the situation and say, look, I gave it my absolute best shot. Yes, I did everything I knew how to do. It didn't work out. That's what happens in life. God knows it's happened to me too many times. But if I think I could have done this a bit better, maybe I should have made that phone call, I could have written that better or whatever it is, you'll always have regrets. And that's on you. I don't mean you, I mean, that's on you. But if you did your best, you did your best. That's it. There's no more to be said on that.
yeah. I think you've said it. I think really regret is the worst thing that anyone could have, and it's such a waste of energy. And it's something that I've always tried to avoid, that I'll ever regret something.
And I think also with, if you like, the formula, if that's the right word, that we've learned from you today, this has intrigued me, Nina. It's also another thing I've picked up from it. It's absolute economy. You said wasted energy and regret. Yeah, because you're focusing on what you did want, not what you didn't. Right? You hadn't done it before, so there's no. Yes, it took courage, but there's no thinking, "Oh, can I beat the last time?" And you did it in such simple steps, such linear steps, if you like. The next logical step, but with the most economy of energy. So yes, there was action, but I wouldn't
Never
call it
thought of
struggle.
that. Never thought of that, Nick. Never thought of that. That's
if you go
beautiful.
back and listen to this interview again, which I hope you do, if you want to take the formula out of it, I'll put this back up on the screen again. But note, unfolding an economy of energy. No energy wasted, like Nina says, and an economy of energy. Okay, we'll get the name from there, and the next step's that, and the next step's that, and it unfolds. You could call it effortless effort, if you like.
I think we can,
in my opinion,
a lot. I think we can spend a lot of time agonizing over things that actually we shouldn't. And I think that's part of being.
Why do you think I talk so much about this? Because I spent most of my life doing that.
Well, I think we all do.
I'm the worst, Nina.
When you talk about it,
worse than you.
Very logical, but when doing it is actually a little bit harder, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
I love it. Julie Voice, formerly of Houston, Texas, now of Guilford, not quite as exciting, but I never get tired of saying it. In the first year, unless, of course, it's skydiving.
Well, the skydiving wouldn't kill you, but the landing would.
That's so stupid. Nina, I got to reminisce with you for a sec to that night when I was invited, to my amazement, I think it's through breast cancer care, which I had a lot of connections with for obvious reasons, through my late wife. And the evening was magical. I can't tell you, if you're a lady listening to this and you think, you know what, the moonwalk, I bet that's fun. I can't tell you. The atmosphere, the warmth, the excitement, the camaraderie,
Yeah.
feeling. It was fantastic.
My
It
daughter and
was
her mum have
just
done it. Loved
amazing.
it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's just beautiful, you know? It's the most beautiful thing. Why did you think it was an idea to do the moonwalk? Why at night?
Yeah. Well, if Walk the Walk came about by sort of a dream, the
Yeah.
moonwalk came about because we'd done a couple of, when we did the first one, I really didn't expect it to continue, and I had people starting to contact me afterwards to say, can I join your next walk? And I used to
Wow.
laugh. I have a diary entry at the time that says this walking thing is getting huge. I've now got 11 people, and when you think that nearly, about 500,000 have walked with us now, that seems sort of quite comical. But I think that I had no intention of continuing it. And people were contacting me and sort of saying, can we come and join your next walk? And it was sort of it was about 1998, a couple of years after the first. It was the second year, really. We'd done New York twice. We'd done London once because people had been coming to do it. And we wanted to do London again, but I had about 50 people that by this time that wanted to go and come and do the London Marathon with us. And we could only get 25 places. And I remember
Right.
I rang up the marathon office, and obviously for very good reason, if you've ever tried to get into the London Marathon, it's impossible. You can't.
Oh, I know.
And I
Really
rang them and I said, look, we're a team of walkers. We've got 25 that are already in. We'll be right at the back of the field. Can you let 25 others in? And they're raising money. They've been training. And they said, no. And they were very, very point. That's it. No. And I said, my response to them was, oh, well, I'll do my own marathon.
Good for you.
The person on the phone said to me, and this was very instant, this was without any thinking. She said to me, well, you can't use our route. And I said, I wouldn't use your route, I'll do our own route. And I put the phone down, feeling quite disgruntled, as you can imagine. And I just said to the girl next to me, you know what, we'll do a relay. We'll start at midnight. We'll do it on the eve of the London Marathon. We'll do a relay. So the people that can't get in will walk through the night. We'll call it a moonwalk, and then they can meet the ones that are doing it during the day and sort of hand over the sort of proverbial baton. And it all took place in about 10 minutes, and that's how the moonwalk was launched.
Bloody brilliant. It's bloody brilliant. Revenge is it's not just getting your own back, it's doing something. When you've been told no, it's going, well, screw you, I'm going to do it myself. And you know what? I'm going to do it even better. I'm going to do it even better. I'm going to do it my way. And that's true.
It was a solution. It was a solution.
Yeah.
And again, I only ever imagined it happening once. I just thought it was a solution to that particular day. And I have to say that the whole thing about Walk the Walk and the Moonwalk, it was very, very, to use your term, organic. I didn't sit down and sort of think, oh, let's have a 5-year business plan, or this is what we'll be doing. It was kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's do another one. Oh, okay, everybody wants to do another one. And I think that at the end of doing that, the first moonwalk, in which there were 25 originally, but by the time we got to the night, there were 60 of us, because mums and daughters and a few friends, they said, can we come? I said, yeah, no, sure, just come and join us. And
rock up, why don't you?
it was actually a lovely girl I knew at the time, who was an editor of Health and Fitness magazine, and she did an article because she took part, and she was one of the 60, and she took part, and she wrote this article about the moonwalk, and it came out around, I think it was about November time, and I went away for the Christmas holidays, and in this article, she'd done this lovely write-up about her experience of doing this very sort of organic sort of moonwalk, where we didn't have medals or anything. I just scrounged roses from Covent Garden Market to give to people on the finish line. And I came home from my Christmas holiday and I had 600 letters behind my door.
No.
People asking me, can I come and do the next moonwalk? So that,
Wow.
what can you say? So we had to do another one.
How did it make, on a personal level, because I'm always fascinated when somebody achieves something quite extraordinary, as you have, and it all gets done, and you've got CBE and it's all marvelous, but deep down, there's Nina going, what the bloody heck, what's going on here? How did you feel when you suddenly realised you'd created a wonderful monster?
Well, I think that to be honest, the absolute pinnacle of this entire story is that after we'd done the first London Marathon, that's always the first weekend of November. So literally, it was weeks later. I was away working on one of my photo shoots, and only because I'd been fundraising, because people did not talk about cancer or breast cancer or what it looked like or felt like or early signs. And I was away on this photo shoot in Arizona, and it was very early January. And I was in the shower, and I suddenly felt this little tiny lump. Now, you imagine when you think of breast cancer, it's going to be, something with a neon bulb lighting it up. It was tiny. It was like a pine nut or a pea.
Yep.
But because my awareness had been so raised, from these sort of few weeks of fundraising, even though I was in Arizona, I just thought I have to have this checked out. So I took myself off much to the amazement of the crew I was with. I said, I've got to see a doctor. And this was a real sort of dust bowl town, where the dust bowls are rolling down and you saw a car every sort of hour. And
oh my God, what, like real tumbleweed?
Yeah, no, real
Is he
life.
twins with New Malden? Just saying. Just saying. Oh, come on.
And I went off to get this checked because I thought I can't wait to get home. I've got to have it checked. And I really expected that the doctor, who was kind of there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something, the doctor would say to me, "Oh no, it's normal. It's just part of you." And I think I would have quite thought it was just part of me had it been before my sort of marathon experience. And she said, she said, I'm not comfortable with that. I want to have it checked, and you need to have a mammogram. And I said, what now? While I'm here, I was only in this place for a week. I went through a mammogram, through an ultrasound, and I can remember lying there on the ultrasound, and the guy said, no, he said, we want to do more investigation. And I said, well, I'm due to fly home and I'm due to work in South Africa for 6 weeks. Can I do it when I get back? And he just looked at me and he went, you're going to cancel everything. And that was it. So for me, I would never have found, it turned out to be a grade 3 tumor. I would never have found that. And I absolutely know that because it was so small and so insignificant. Evidently, I had had it for about 3 years. I had
wow.
No idea. And I would never have found it had I not had the dream and decided to follow it through. So
this is fate, Nina. This is the most extraordinary fate. It's one thing after another of fate.
And
it was meant to be.
And I think that the fact that you've achieved this amazing thing and raised so much awareness that it's just started that all important conversation. Because I know we've got technology issues, so I'm being very I've only been drinking issues, so I'm being very careful not to talk over anyone. But I'm picking up lots of things, and I remember you said you wouldn't normally have really thought about it that much. It was fairly insignificant, but then suddenly after all this, it suddenly flagged up, and I think you've opened that opportunity for an awful lot more people because you said people didn't talk about it. It was like it was the C word. We even call it the C word because we can't even say it. That's how scared we are to even use a word like that. And the fact that we can, you can bring it out in the open and shine it in the spotlight. And I think, I wonder how many lives you've saved as a result of your dream. I wonder.
Well, I know quite a few. I know quite a few women who signed up for the Moonwalk, and because they've got involved with, getting their bras and decorating it, and their attention has been drawn to their breasts, that they have found lumps because of that, which is amazing. I mean, I don't care how people find them. I never checked my breasts, and I feel incredibly grateful that life, it moved, it was not the easiest, it was not an easy route, I have to say, to get to where we are today. But I wouldn't change anything, because I think for me, my experience, if it helps even one person, and I know that's a very common thread with people that have been affected by sort of a disease or by any kind of.
And it's a beautiful thread, but I think you might have helped a few more than one. At a guess.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess you can add a few zeros to that. Nina, I want to just say something which is opposite. Coming in and out of the picture is somebody called Emily Dexter. She hasn't got a good connection today, and we spoke at length this morning. Now, last week, Emily, who's young, found a lump. 2 weeks ago, she was on the show, and she found a lump. And the morning it was discovered, she came on the show. She's a good friend of Neil's. Thank you for the introduction, Morgie. And obviously, for the last 2 weeks, she's been tense as anything, as you can well imagine, because you fear the worst. And we had a long chat this morning, and I'm thrilled to say that it's fine, completely benign, not a problem. And she told me this. I've only met her once. I met her once at Neil's house, and I felt, Nina, this weight come off my. I mean, she's not a friend of mine. I know her vicariously through Neil, and this weight came off my shoulder. And I thought, oh, thank you, because she's a young.
We try and bring her on.
Yeah, we're trying to, but she's. I can't find her again. I just got a message. There was a helicopter went over and mopped her up. There we are. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Emily, or not? Not looking good.
I can, yes.
Oh, just about hear you. Tiny little voice. Tiny. Yeah, kind of, just about. Congratulations on your diagnosis. Bravo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And it's been lovely listening to you all. I hope you can hear me okay. Nina, it's so lovely to hear your voice. We spoke at length over the pandemic when I was at Radio Jackie about the importance of checking your breasts. And imagine my surprise when I actually wasn't doing a routine check. I just found this lump. But thank goodness Nina had armed me with such a huge amount of knowledge that I didn't panic. I knew what to do.
And between the pair of you, with Nina's inspiration and the fact that you then told us how brilliantly, and they get not in the tabloids, but the NHS dealt with it in a very professional, very calming, very reassuring manner. I hope it's helped. I hope it's helped people out there, men and women. Women, mostly, obviously, but men can get breast cancer. Okay, it's not a great connection here. It's not a great connection at all. Hold on. Right, I'm going to have to take you off,
Sorry, Emily, but congratulations on your good news. Absolutely delighted, because Emily is a very dear friend of mine.
Yeah,
and from me too.
It's nice when things have a happy ending. They don't always, but I'm like, you are an inspiration. So what's next? Do you have any other? Did you have another dream? I know.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. What's the next dream?
What's the next dream?
I just want to say, just before we move off, that one of the wonderful things that I think Walk the Walk has done, we've raised lots of money and we've reached out lots and touched lots of people that wouldn't otherwise have had a consciousness, and that's a big part of what we do. One of the greatest things I think we did and still do is that what we do is generally, it's a lot of fun around something that is very serious. And I think it's given permission for people talk about it in pubs, people talk about it at work, they talk about the fun aspect, but actually it's allowed people to talk about breast cancer very openly, which didn't exist before we started doing this.
Yeah. And that's so important. It's just opening up the conversation that we can talk about it like adults and not say things like the C word and things like that. The fact that we can straight talk about it, it just puts it all out on the table and puts it in the light clearly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and just to be brutally honest, I know it's scary, but it makes it less scary. Dave Sleet is saying this he's up in Fife in Scotland. This may seem strange, but being taught about breast examination, something I'm so glad I was taught. It really did help being able to support a previous partner. Well, there you go. That's what it's all about. And you do need help when you go through.
They often say that cancer secrecy is cancer's greatest ally. And having been through it, I think that is true. When you start being able to talk to everybody very openly, it's such a relief. And people are also relieved because they can talk to you. You know, there's nothing worse than not being able to talk to someone or feeling you can't.
Emily, it ain't working. It's also, a lot of people are so terrified of it, Nina, that they cross the street. I know with my wife, people would cross the street, literally cross the road. I fell out with a lot of people. Oh yeah, Neil.
It's not as if it's contagious, for goodness sake.
You would think it's not. But I fell out with a lot of people who I've never spoken to since because I couldn't believe their attitude. I couldn't believe their heartlessness. And years later, Nina, put it in perspective. I got a letter, I won't say who it was from, someone I was close with and holiday together, all that sort of thing. Oh, I'm so sorry. There was a misunderstanding. I went, what part of breast cancer and dying is the misunderstanding? What part did you not understand?
It's fear. And fear is not logical. It's like, breast cancer can just jump from one person to another like a virus. We got a message from Emily on the chat, Russ and Nina. She says, I'll be your mouthpiece, Emily. I was going to ask Nina if she could talk you through how to do an examination on yourselves and where to look. Because, men can get breast cancer. We have breast
Great idea.
Some more than others, unfortunately. It'd be very easy to remind men. It's super easy. They can check when they're having a shower or doing other activities.
Well, I think that I absolutely can do that. And I think the wonderful thing, you asked me what's next. I think the wonderful thing is that science research has come such a long way since those early days that we now put a huge amount of work on prevention, and they know that activity and lifestyle are really important to prevention. But
hugely,
also the fact that anyone can get breast cancer. If you've got breast tissue, then anyone can get breast cancer. So in terms of anyone listening, men sometimes are a bit, I suppose, I don't want to generalize here, but they can be a bit slow coming to the table.
No, that's fair. We'll take that.
We'll accept that.
But that's probably fear as well. I think that wraps itself up in a lot of different ways. So the easiest way to do a breast check, and what's important, is doing it at the same time every month. It doesn't really matter when, but it needs to be the same time so that you've got some kind of a control. If you say I do it on the 1st of the month, then did that feel the same last month as it does this month? And so the best thing to do is to stand in front of a mirror so that you can see your whole chest. Put your hands on your hips so that you're tightening your chest muscles. And then the first thing is to visibly check that you're symmetrical. So quite often and certainly in my case, the breast tissue can change on the breast if there is any symptoms there, and it can change so that they don't look symmetrical, but you might not notice it when you're sort of moving about day to day. You really have to stand there and look in front of a mirror. So then you also check to see if there's any skin changes, such as any rashes or dimples or puckering. And all of these, it's no guarantee that it is breast cancer, but it's all symptoms that you may want to go and get checked out. If you're lying in the bath or you're in the shower, then the best thing to do then is to use lots of soap, get your hands really nice and soapy so you create a slippery layer, and then allow your fingers to glide over your skin, over your chest area, so that it's not rubbing, it's gliding, and you're more likely to feel any bumps or lumps. So raise your left arm. I'm doing this actually as I'm talking to you. That's a bit funny, isn't it? Raising your left arm. Place your left hand. You place the left hand on the back of your head, and with your right hand, close together your middle and your third finger, so that you've got sort of your middle and your third fingers. Place them together so that you can then start moving them towards the outer edge of your chest area, pressing down and sliding your fingers in small circles. So you go all around the area of your, well, we would call it your breast, although men don't think they have breasts, they do, all around the area of the breast, and then around the area of the nipple, checking the skin and feeling for any lumps or anything that doesn't feel normal to you. And then if you squeeze your nipple between your thumb and your index finger, and you can check for the skin pulling inwards or any puckering or discharge, which is not uncommon in those sorts of circumstances.
I did not expect, if someone about 3 years ago had said to me, you'll be talking to an inspirational lady and checking your breasts on live radio, I would not have believed them, Nina, I have to say.
Well, you can also do it lying down. So it's whichever way is comfortable for you. But I think the absolute message is just do it. Do it every month. Pick the same day. And then the slightest thing, if it comes into your head and you think, oh, I wonder what that is, it's probably nothing. But I would always say, pester your doctor, go and get it checked. And like Emily, much better to put your mind at rest and go, actually, it's nothing, than to keep mulling it, leaving it. Because if it is something, what we have discovered in the last 25 years, which is fantastic, is that breast cancer, if it is found early enough, is almost a treatable condition. And we couldn't have said that.
It's certainly improved, hasn't it? Could you just, by the way, in case you think I'm going completely round the red, we were supposed to be having Jacob Dunn. He appeared briefly, and now he's disappeared. He has created this. Oh, there he is. He's back. I want Jacob on the show. Nina, can we be joined by Jacob? This is all very important stuff because Jacob has created the most fantastic thing. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Nice to.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Nice to meet you both, and thank you.
Hello, Jacob. How are you?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you.
Hello.
Can you all hear me?
So Nina meet Jacob. Jacob meet Nina. This is what a power duo. What an inspirational duo. I know you don't know each other, but down in Fulham, Jacob has created. Well, you tell us, Nina. You'll love this. It's amazing, and it's right on following beautifully from what you've just been talking about. So, Jacob, tell us what you've created because it's fabulous.
Well, I can't take full
Yes, you can.
Go on.
Go on, Neil does. I do.
It was created really by Prostate Cancer UK, and it was executed by a company called Global Street Art that do the most amazing mural arts around the country, but also around the globe. Some really brilliant work they do. But essentially, this is our kind of emblem, the prostate cancer stick man in a 10-meter high mural painted on the Fulham Road, just opposite Pizza Express. But it is an amalgam of all of our sort of diverse and inclusive wealth of people that have either had prostate cancer or have had sort of been affected by it. There are sort of English roses on there. There are Welsh daffodils. There is some tartan on there. There's also a kind of representative of Afro-Caribbean and African prints. So it's a big smorgasbord of all of those that are affected by prostate cancer, at least in the UK. So please do check it out. And
it looks fantastic. If I was clever, I'd be able to get the pictures up, but I'm an idiot when it comes to tech things, so I don't do it.
Well, everyone should
But
go
it
down and
looks
see it, maybe.
absolutely wonderful.
Thank
Yes.
you, yeah.
So, Jacob, if I may, and please, it's not the BBC, you don't have to go there if you don't want to. I was obviously reading up about you and chatting to your PR people, etc. Your dad was diagnosed, and this is exactly why it follows so brilliantly on from what
Yes.
Nina was saying. Your dad was diagnosed too late.
Yes. So my dad was actually diagnosed, I think, in 2018. And I wasn't very close with my dad. I had hardly spoken to him really. I'd seen him a few times in my life. We were not very close. But I got in touch with him during the pandemic, actually on Father's Day, June 20th, 2020, where I discovered, when catching up with him, that he had prostate cancer. He was very downplayed it a lot. I think it kind of links back to what you were just actually saying and what Nina was just saying about sort of men maybe not being as forthcoming, these sorts of things. He downplayed it, but from what I understood and what I gathered later was that it was quite advanced stage. By the time he was diagnosed, it had already spread to his spine. He was on hormone treatment. That's sort of a very common treatment for prostate cancer, is hormone treatment. He was on enzalutamide, which is a testosterone blocker, which is a very effective.
So was my dad. I just believe me. I remember. Yeah, Pop was on that. He was very unhappy about it.
Yes, it's a very effective treatment, but it also there are some side effects. Sweating profusely is one of them. But yes, it was quite late stage, and 3 months later to the day, the 20th of September, he passed away. So it's all very strange. And then what's also very strange is this mural was erected on the 3rd of August, which is my dad's 75th birthday.
Oh,
so
it all connects strangely kind of to
it does,
this,
doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, prostate cancer is no joke, and I'm a black male. I come from an Afro-Caribbean background. My father was a Jamaican man, and unfortunately, 50% more likely to get it if you are from an African or Afro-Caribbean.
I was going to ask that actually. I wonder why that is.
There is actually no kind of research into why exactly that is, which is the shame of it all. But it is, if you are of Afro-Caribbean or African background, have a history or have African history in your family, it's a risk factor, and you should go and get checked out, particularly if you are over the age of 45. You should definitely get checked out if you've got any kind of family history with this. So maybe even if it's just one distant relative that you heard about, maybe, but just for your peace of mind, go to your GP and get what is called a PSA blood test, which is it's basically anyone can get it regardless of the risk factors, but it'll put your mind at ease. That's one test that we can do, and then if they need to do another test, they may do another rectal digital exam, which is also another test to just be completely sure, because it tests different parts of the prostate. But go and get a blood test in the initial stage. Do it today. Call your GP. And if not, go and check your risk factors on Prostate Cancer UK's website. There's a special sort of section of it, 30-second test, where you can just put in some of your details and check what your risk factors are. So it's an important thing to do, definitely.
And if it's caught early, obviously, like most cancers, much more treatable.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a very good rate of people that can catch it early. The problem with prostate cancer, and I really want to stress this, is, I think, Nina was talking about testing and checking yourself for breast cancer, and that men can get breast cancer. That's fantastic. With prostate cancer, there are often no symptoms at all. So it's really important that you get tested. Do look out for changes in the way you're urinating. If it's sort of, you're suddenly bursting to go, and then when you do finally get to the toilet, you hardly go, or if there's pain or blood or semen that comes out during the, check for these things. But often,
because the prostate can be enlarged, can't it? Which can make it difficult to go. I was checked relatively recently, actually. But it can be enlarged, which is pretty common, I understand, but without being cancerous, just
benign. It can be, So that's the thing. I mean, even if you do have these symptoms, please don't stress or fear, because a lot of these things could be, it could be stones, kidney stones, it could be an enlarged prostate, which is usually benign. So, but do the test and get it checked out. But
I wonder if you, Jacob, and you, Nina, realise how much this particular episode of The Daily Show means to me. Prostate cancer took my dad in 2000. Breast cancer took my wife in 2004, when she was young. These are all important things, and they did everything. And Jacob, I can tell you that I have that PSA test regularly, and it's nothing. It's a blood test. It's nothing. I'm like a dartboard for blood test anyway. It's fine. And again, if we draw anything from all our lovely conversation today with two brilliant guests, it's this: don't be scared. Get yourself checked out. It may well be absolutely nothing, like
Most
Emily.
likely.
And if it is something, you're going to catch it in time. The worst thing you can do
Cancer, it's just all about early. They're doing some amazing things. I'm always talking about this book on this show called Life Force by Tony Robbins. He's the big motivational guru. In his latest book, it's all about the latest leading edge treatments, and some of the things, if you read it, some of the things they're doing with cancer now, it's incredible, absolutely incredible, including using AI to diagnose it. It really is quite extraordinary. Jacob, I see you're an artist. Is there somewhere we can look at your artwork? Where can that be? You got a website we can put on the screen?
Well, I mean, I'm not the artist of this mural, unfortunately, but I did work with prostate cancer on it. They have their own artists that they've worked with, and Global Street Art have their own artists. I actually work in.
They're not as good as you, Jacob. They're not as good.
I actually work in augmented reality advertising. So I'm pretty familiar with Global Street Art and the way that they can make things immersive and interactive.
Do you want to say that in English?
Slow it down.
I get it. It's like Pokemon, right?
Yeah, a little bit like Pokemon Go. They did that's an augmented reality game, but
if only I was 6. What?
Yeah, but
explain. I've got to know. Come on, you've got to tell me now.
They use augmented reality to also train surgeons now, and I know that St Thomas's Hospital did use augmented reality a few years ago in actually kind of diagnosing. They did a test run in diagnosing prostate cancer. So it has the functional and it's also fun. But yeah, that's the work that we did. But I think you should all check out Global Street Art and also Prostate Cancer UK website, prostatecanceruk.org, and do your risk checkers and see how you can contribute in any way, shape or form.
You are a fantastic spokesperson, by the way. We get a lot of spokespeople on, and some people are great, like you, and some people you think, geez, this is the best. I'm not being rude, this is the best you can find. 65 million people in the country. You're terrific.
Oh,
terrific.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, we say it. People never say that. People go, oh, thank you, Don. Thank you very much indeed. No, I think if somebody really connects and somebody really communicates, well, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, really good. You're a really good, communicator. You'd be a natural for radio, actually. I have to say.
Thank you all.
Hold on to
your job. Joking, but thank you so much for having me, guys. And I really love the work.
Absolute pleasure. And it's just give us the address. It's on Fulham. It's on the Fulham Road, right near Pizza Express. You're saying?
Opposite Pizza Express. I think the exact number is 353 Fulham Road. You'll have to look up. It's slightly raised above, and it's a 10-meter giant man mural. But yes, if you're in London, please go and see it. Yeah, Fulham Broadway tube station's nearby. Check it out, please.
And pop in and see Teresa and Roland. They live near there. It doesn't matter. All right, Jacob, thank you so much. Bless you for what you do. Good luck.
Thank you, Jacob. All the best.
Nina, thank you. You're still there, I hope.
I am still here. It's been fascinating.
What a lovely guy.
Thanks to you, Nina. Many people are still here, if you get my drift.
That is right.
It's very, very lovely for you to give me this opportunity to share my experience.
Absolutely my pleasure. Hang on one second. You carry on, Nick.
Okay. What I might just do is just sum up what we've talked about so far, just because there's been an awful lot of really good information. First of all, it was how to bring a dream into reality. I picked up on that. Keep it fun. Act on the inspiration, if you like, without any need for an outcome to be a particular way. Hold on tightly, let go lightly. An economy of energy, path of least resistance. Then the more practical things, a check we talked about. Do it at the same time every month. Put a reminder in your phone, maybe. stick a note on the mirror, however you remember, or attach it to a trigger. Like if when you clean your teeth, think, oh, do I need to check this morning? And once a month you will, something like that. Does it feel the same month to month? If you're looking for any changes, a way to do it is Wonder Woman pose, hands on your hips, tighten your chest, and then look for symmetry. Symmetry is generally good, because I found something on one side before and I go, oh my goodness, what's that? But then there's the same thing on the other side and I think, that's probably all right. And it is generally. Any skin changes, put two fingers together, create a slippery layer with soap and bubbles, glide, if you like, over your body gently, look for lumps and bumps, and squeeze your nipples as well, which did make me and Russ go absolutely keep following your dreams. I'll be fascinated to see what you do next, Nina. I think there's an awful lot more you're going to bring to the world. If you want to see the mural for prostate cancer, Global Street Art, Prostate Cancer UK is the place to look, and that address is 353 Fulham Road. So any hints of what might be next for you, Nina? Come on, what's the next big thing?
I think the important thing is that I think that Walk the Walk has always been out there in front and wanting to sort of raise awareness about things that don't get voiced. And I think at the moment, one of the the two big things that we're sort of investing in is, one is obviously people that are living with cancer, and it's helping them to live well with cancer. And we sort of obviously work with a lot of other organizations on that. But we're also very much wanting to work on prevention, because I think that the fantastic news now is that, as I said earlier, that actually, if you think about somebody is diagnosed with breast cancer every 10 minutes. Now, obviously, there's a lot more women than there is men, but every 10 minutes, that's 55,000 a year. And I think if we can hold on to something that actually could make a difference, then we should grab it with both hands. And
I think also it's worth pointing out that it's the simple things. I'm a big fan of Michael Mosley. I love his work. And his latest book, Just One Thing, and they're just simple things you can do, like eating an apple every day, something that simple, or even standing on one leg. I know it sounds random, but there is method to the madness. But he's got solid science behind him, and so much, it was mentioned earlier, is about lifestyle and about the choices we make. You're not victims of a genetic prison. There's a whole new science now called epigenetics, which means above the genetics, and put that in English, it basically means the environment, and indeed your perception of the environment and the choices that you make within that environment, if they're healthy ones, make such a difference. I mean, it can cut your risk by a half, some of these simple things. So it's really worth looking into simple things you can do, because as my dad, God bless him, used to say, an ounce of prevention is better than a ton of cure.
Always. I think prevention is really something that we want to support wholeheartedly. And as you say, you're absolutely right. It's very simple things. And people always think, oh God, lifestyle, I'm going to have to give up everything. And it's not that at all. It's being aware, and it's making choices. So, it's I think if you have the knowledge, then you can decide how much you're going to drink or eat.
That's the key thing, isn't it? It's taking as much fear out and panic and knee jerk out of it as possible, giving people all the information so they can make informed, intelligent and beneficial choices. And really, it's just, but we can't do that all the time. We're hiding it in the dark. All the C word. I better not say that word. And just before we finish, congratulations to my dear friend on her good news, Emily Dexter. Occasional presenter on Men's Radio. I'm sure she'll be back again. And an incredibly good presenter and DJ as well. Spin 'em decks. Good luck. Congratulations on your news, and lots of love from us at Men's Radio.
Nina, it's been a privilege. It really has been a privilege. Thank you so much. And we wish you every success going forwards. And if you ever want to come back, you have a home here on The Daily Show on Men's Radio Station anytime.
Keep following those dreams, Nina.
I will, and I'm the one that feels very privileged. So thank you, and thank you for supporting us. And men get breast cancer too.
Okay, bless you. Bye. Take care. Bye. What a fantastic!
What a show!
What a show today, huh? What a show! And when
Elizabeth has described that as strangely uplifting, and I know what she means. But I think the more information that we've got, the more fear we can take out, and the more informed, intelligent choices that we can make. And the more we try and keep up to date with the latest advances, read the Tony Robbins Life Force book if you can. I think that gives us all a really, really good shot at all of this. And that is definitely worth
Neil,
playing
as
for.
always, my thanks go to you. Huge thanks. I'll be back on Friday with the Count of Cravats, Phil Dave, and the Scream Queen herself, Chantal Ricard's OBE.
See you Monday.
Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
See you Monday. Good afternoon.